and welcome to my review of Project Twilight. Now this is the first part in the Project series, the first part obviously being this, second part Project Lazarus, which is my next Big Finish review, and then Project Destiny. So yeah, let's do my usual procedure where I look at the cover, the discs, then the booklet, and then my overall thoughts on this story. So yeah, let's go. So the cover is basically got this nice sort of purple effect there, and there we have some barbed wire there. And we have a picture of London there on the Thames bank with the Thames there, Colin Baker there, and a briefcase full of blood packs starring Colin Baker, an original audio drama on a double CD. And on the spine we have the same image of Colin Baker, and then we have the number there, 23, so this is a pretty early release. On the back we have this same purple effect of the TARDIS, and then we have what the story is about. So do feel free to pause this and get a gist of the story, and the total runtime is 110 minutes. Ooh. Yeah, so that's basically the cover and the back. So now let's look at the booklet and the discs. Okay, so here's the booklet. So if we open it up, we have information about the story, so who directed it and produced it. And then we have behind the scenes with cast members there, with Colin Baker and Maggie Stables. Very nice. Then we have what this story would have been like if it was in the Radio Times, and then we have the sort of Tom Baker vortex there from the 70s, which is all very nice inclusion. Then we have advertisement for other Big Finish stuff, and previous and upcoming audios, and past Doctor books, and advertisements for Doctor Who magazine. And then we have writer's notes there. Hopefully you guys can see that so you could read it. So yeah, that's basically that, and then we have the inclusion of what's on each disc. That's basically the booklet. Now let's go on to the disc. So the disc art is really cool, but I don't know if the camera's going to let you show this, but you may be able to see these sort of packs, and they're meant to represent blood packs. Don't know if you can see them, they're sort of squares. I hope you're getting this, the glares. There we are, you can sort of see it there. And disc 1's exactly the same. We might actually get it better. And then we have a picture of Colin and Maggie Stables. Just try and get the glare off it. Yeah, I think you can just about see it there. So yeah, that's basically the discs and these sort of insides. So that's very nice. Now let's go into my overall thoughts on Project Twilight. Right, so now it's time to go into my thoughts on Project Twilight. Now, if you see my top 15 stories, you'll know that this was on the list. So, obviously, it is fantastic. The story itself, it's dark and it's morbid. The story, the first scene really does set the tone of the story, but that doesn't mean that the story doesn't have any light moments. I mean, the second scene, I believe, with Colin Baker and Maggie Stables, talking about the Chinese food. So that sort of is contrast to the rest of the story, because that's a light element, and then the rest of the story is quite dark. But Colin Baker's sort of almost unrecognisable in this story, because he's a lot more sort of toned down, a lot more sort of less arrogant, and that's fantastic. But that soon does change, I think, in part 3, when he does discover who's behind this, and it really does. This story really does sort of explore the Time Lord mythos with the great vampires, because they were last seen in a state of decay, and that's a story I'm really fond of, and I just adore that story. And also we do get some of the traditional vampire traits, such as no reflection and all that sort of stuff. Right, so my overall thoughts are, this is a really dark story, especially in episode 4, because there's a certain moment when you think, has the Doctor actually made it? And of course you sort of know in the back of your mind that he does, but it's still quite a thought-provoking thing. The story does have a sort of really sort of twisted element with Colin Baker's Doctor, because he is literally backed up into a corner, and everything the vampires sort of are doing to him is everything, a Time Lord should never do, and that's really explored in the later parts of the story, because, the Doctor knows it's not right, because the Time Lords sort of brought the great vampires into our universe, so he thinks it's his sort of duty to stop what's going on. The final 10 minutes of his story really does set up the project series with a character called Cassie, who is a mother of a Big Finish companion. You may know this, but I'm not going to say it if you don't really want to know, or if you don't want to be spoilt by it. But she is a big significant part in the project series. In Project Lazarus, which I shall go on to later, there is definitely a sort of dark moment involving her character. And also the story does reference Zagreus, the 50th release from the monthly range, and that's also hinted in Season to Fear with the Zagreus nursery rhyme, which is used in this story. So overall, I would recommend it. The Forge itself is this sort of organisation which is sort of a big part of Big Finish, because it's been referenced in a fair few audios, and this is sort of the starting of the series, and I have to say it's a fantastic opener, and if you can get this audio, definitely get it, because it is fantastic. And once you listen to this, I think you would appreciate Colin Baker a lot more, and it's probably one of the best early Big Finish stories, because this is sadly out of print, so if you can get your hands on it, do get it, because it does have it follows in the same vein as the Philip Hinchcliffe era. So if you're a big fan of that era, because I love the Philip Hinchcliffe era, then definitely do try and check this out. Or if you can borrow it from a friend, then yeah, do check it out, because it is fantastic. So yeah, thank you very much for watching my review of Project Twilight, and I will see you on my next review, which is the second story, Project Lazarus.